So, what if the real secret to getting ahead of 90% of people isn't about working harder at all, but about thinking smarter? Today, we are going to unlock the mental operating system that top performers use. And look, this is not about hustle culture. It's about 7 small, research-backed habits that create these massive compounding advantages over time. Let's dive right in.
But first, I want to start with a pretty basic question. How much of your day is actually driven by conscious, deliberate choice versus just, reflexive, automatic habit? Seriously, think about your morning routine or your drive to work. How much of it do you actually, truly remember? The answer to that question is the key to everything we're about to talk about.
All right, let's get into this. The truth is, most of our lives are run by these mental defaults. Our brains, you see, evolved to save energy by creating cognitive shortcuts, and this puts us into a state of, autopilot. Now, it's incredibly efficient for routine stuff, but that efficiency, it often costs us our sense of control in the moments that really matter.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at the work of Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. He was a psychologist who completely changed our understanding of decision-making. He came up with this idea that our brain has 2 distinct systems for thinking, and this is really the foundation for how we can intentionally break out of that autopilot mode.
So here you can see the 2 systems, side by side. System 1, that's your gut reaction. It's fast, it's automatic, it's totally intuitive. It's the part of your brain that solves 2 plus 2 or reacts instantly to a car horn. It's your brain's reflexive pilot. Now System 2, that's your inner Sherlock Holmes. It's slow, deliberate, and analytical. It's what you use to figure out a 15% tip or weigh the pros and cons of a big decision. It takes real conscious effort.
And here's the crucial point. Our brains are wired for efficiency, not always for accuracy. So we default to the energy-saving System 1 for pretty much everything. And that default is exactly why we fall for cognitive biases, why we make impulsive decisions, and why we often just choose the path of least resistance, even when it's not what's best for us. The goal isn't to get rid of System 1, but to learn when to strategically call in the big guns, our more powerful System 2. So how do we actually do that? How do we build a better mental operating system that lets us choose our thinking mode, instead of letting our old programming choose for us all the time?
Well, the answer lies in a principle that the top 10% seem to understand intuitively: the incredible power of compounding cognitive habits. Look, this is not about some massive overnight transformation. It's about installing small, almost effortless mental routines that, when you practice them consistently, create this ever-widening gap between average and exceptional performance.
And this chart illustrates the math behind that advantage perfectly. Just think of it like compound interest for your mind. A tiny bit of effort on day 1 seems, insignificant, right? But over a year, that small, consistent practice grows exponentially. I mean, think about any skill you've mastered. Did it happen overnight? No way. It was the result of these tiny, consistent efforts. This is the exact same principle, just applied to your thinking.
Okay, so let's get to the practical toolkit. We're going to walk through these 7 most powerful habits for engaging that deliberate System 2. They are: protecting your attention, pausing before you react, writing things down, asking better questions, accepting you're wrong, admitting ignorance, and thinking long-term.
All right, the first and honestly most fundamental habit is to treat your attention like the scarce, incredibly valuable resource that it is. In our world today, your attention is currency, and believe me, everyone wants to spend yours. Protecting it isn't just about being more productive, it's about protecting your ability to think deeply and live a life you actually choose.
Author Cal Newport gives us the perfect antidote to distraction with his concept of deep work. This is simply the practice of engaging in sustained, focused effort. In other words, it's the dedicated training ground for your System 2 brain. It's that state where you solve the hard problems, produce your most valuable work, and really, truly move the needle.
And you can start building this muscle right away. Schedule it like it's the most critical meeting of your week. 3 times a week, a 90-minute block. No phone, no email, no notifications. And yeah, it's gonna feel hard at first. Your mind is gonna rebel. That's totally normal. Start with just 30 minutes if you have to. The key here is consistency, building that focus muscle over time.
Okay, so now that we've protected a space for deliberate thought, let's look at what to do in the heat of the moment. This habit is all about creating a little bit of space between a stimulus and your response.
This is just so powerful because it is absolutely true. That little gap between a frustrating email and your reply, or an angry comment and your comeback, that's where your freedom lies. It's the difference between being a puppet of your impulses and being the master of your actions. Reactivity is just System 1 running wild. A deliberate response, that's System 2 taking control.
You can think of this as a mental brake pedal. When you feel that jolt of anger, that's your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, hijacking your rational mind. Taking a single, deep 5-second breath is like a neurobiological cheat code. It sends a calming signal down your vagus nerve, which activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and that lets your prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, come back online.
This next habit is a secret weapon of the world's top performers: intellectual humility. It is the absolute engine of learning and growth. While 90% of people are busy defending their egos and confirming their biases, the top 10% are busy learning, updating their beliefs, and actually adapting to reality.
So instead of digging in your heels to defend a position, train your mind with this one simple question. Ask it honestly, before a debate or a big decision. Just the act of seeking out evidence that disproves your idea, rather than just confirming what you already believe, shifts you from defending your ego to pursuing the truth. It is a total game changer for decision-making.
Okay, this all sounds great, but how do you actually start? The key is to not get overwhelmed. We're not trying to overhaul your entire personality here. We are just installing a few new lines of code into your mental operating system.
Here's a super practical 30-day plan. Week 1, you're just going to focus on writing things down and maybe asking one clarifying question today. That's it. Week 2, you start to protect your time with deep work and practice that 5-second pause. By week 4, you're not just practicing anymore, you're evaluating what's working and scaling it up. This is how you build a new OS, brick by brick.
And if you want to start even smaller, hey, just pick one of these. Remember, these are not just small actions, they are seeds that will grow into powerful habits. Using a 5-second pause when you feel anger rise will literally change your relationships. Asking one clarifying question before you offer your opinion will make you seem wiser. These are micro habits with a macro impact. So the crucial point to take away from all of this is that your future is not going to be determined by one giant leap. It's shaped by the thousands of tiny, deliberate choices you make every single day. The choice to pause, the choice to focus, the choice to question. These are the choices that, over time, compound into a massive advantage.
This entire framework, really, it comes down to a single choice that you can make right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The journey to outpace the 90% starts with one small step, taken today. So ask yourself, based on everything you've just heard, what is one small thing you will commit to doing differently tomorrow?
That's where the change begins, not with some grand plan, but with one small, deliberate, curious step. The only question left is, what will your first step be? Thanks for watching.